Is it possible that Russia invades European territory, and to be exact, I'm talking about Baltics? Well, yeah, it's possible. Let's look at this news. March 2023. Russia has become more active on an island neighboring Estonia and Finland. Satellite images show that a radar station has been installed on the island. Also, according to Russian media, several years ago, Russia built several helipads on the island. After the seizure of Crimea, more special forces exercises began to be held in the region. May 2024, Russian military aircraft intercepted over the Baltic by German fighters. December 2024, Russian aircraft with supersonic missiles spotted over the Baltic Sea. F-35s from Estonia took off to intercept. And now a nuke of a news. February 2025, Russian Foreign Ministry Alexander Takovnin announces preparation of military clash between Russia and NATO. And if that doesn't ring a bell, then next piece of news, February 2025 again, another Russian ambassador, Pavel Kuznetsov, announced preparations for war with NATO in the Baltic. Yep. And again, February 2025, all this happened in 1 month. Russia has created 2 large military units near the border with Estonia, according to the Department of Foreign Intelligence. The number of Russian armed forces continues to grow despite major losses in Ukraine. Last year, Russia formed an army corps and a motorized rifle division near the border with Estonia. Damn, makes you think. Okay, next, March 2025, Lithuania is preparing for a Russian offense against NATO countries by 2030. And then Poland is stepping up preparations for a possible war. The Ministry of the Interior calls on citizens to stock up on supplies for 3 days on autonomous survival. I don't know, man, there is so many ringing bells that it actually makes you anxious. And there is more similar news, there is so many of them. Just read the news and you will see that a lot of European countries are gradually preparing for a war. Also, there are a lot of incidents of damaging and breaking submarine cables in the Baltic Sea that can be connected to Russia. For example, in September 2022, explosions occurred on the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 gas pipelines connecting Russia and Germany via the Baltic Sea. In October 2023, the Baltic Connector gas pipeline connecting Finland and Estonia, as well as 2 telecommunication cables, were damaged by a vessel that was allegedly operated by a Russian company. On November 2024, 2 telecommunication cables, BCS East-West Interlink and Sea Line 1, were damaged almost simultaneously by a Chinese vessel that departed from Russian port. Some sources, including the Wall Street Journal, have suggested that Russian intelligence may have used the Chinese vessel for sabotage, citing intercepted communications. On December 2024, the S-Link 2 submarine cable linking Finland and Estonia, as well as 4 telecommunication cables, were damaged by the Eagle S tanker carrying Russian oil. On January 2025, a cable between Latvia and Sweden was damaged, and the Swedish Coast Guard detained the Bulgarian vessel Vezhen for inspection. Norway also seized the Russian crewed vessel Silverdania on suspicion of damaging a cable in the same area. Of course, all of this or some of this might actually be unintentional incidents, and there is no strong arguments whether Russia is intentionally damaging cables. However, call me a conspiracy theorist, but all of this is pretty damn suspicious and disturbing to me, given the fact that it just started happening so often and news often mentioned Russia or Chinese vessels with Russian crew, which were allegedly connected to these incidents. Also a funny but still disturbing situation on top of all that happened on the Russian-Estonian border. Russian border guards removed Estonian buoys on the Narva River that were placed by Estonia for the shipping route. It happened at night in May 2024, and as far as I know, Russia still hasn't returned Estonia its buoys. The Russian side claims that it didn't steal the buoys, but stated that the removal was connected with the uncoordinated placement of the buoys by Estonia. Now, a lot of people will say, nah, there is no way Russia will invade Europe. These countries are in NATO. Russia has no resources for that. Russia is exhausted from war in Ukraine. They lost so many men. Their military equipment is outdated and a lot of it is destroyed in war in Ukraine, etc., etc. Let me tell you that. Everybody said basically the same things before war in Ukraine. Everybody ignored ringing bells that something like that might happen. Politicians, propaganda, people on the internet. Most people said that there is no way that Russia will invade Ukraine. There is no point in doing that. There is just no way. And now look what happened. 3 years of war and it still hasn't ended. For anybody who doesn't know, Baltics used to be a part of USSR, so naturally there is still a lot of Russian-speaking people living here. A lot of people were born in the USSR in Baltics and are still nostalgic about these times. Since the war in Ukraine started, Baltic countries are gradually trying to get rid of Russian language in their countries. They remove Russian lessons from schools, they remove Russian translations on government services, etc. Russia could easily say that they are starting a special operation in Baltics for freeing Russian speakers from oppressive European government. They did the same in Ukraine, so I don't see why they wouldn't try to do the same thing in their next war. Well, that's it. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. See ya.